bring magic into your life every Sunday night. Play the magic word game at Rainbow Soul. Visit RainbowSoul.show. Subscribe to Rainbow Soul newsletter and watch out for it in your email. Why? Well, inside that newsletter will be a magic word. Some words maybe you never even heard of, and we will explore the definition and history in the show. If you recognize the word, be sure to share your wisdom with Rainbow Soul in your comment. Each newsletter will have a new magic word. If you know the word when we ask for it, you can simply put it in the comments. First commenter gets a free Rainbow Soul sticker. They are round stickers with Rainbow Soul logo, and they say, Rainbow Soul, transgender is sacred. Hashtag Rainbow Soul Vodcast. As well as a queer version and non-binary version printed on high-quality, large circle stickers. The platforms will keep the time of your post, and this will determine who wins. If 2 or more people all say it within the same minute, according to the platforms, everyone gets a sticker. You can win up to 3 different times, 3 different stickers: non-binary, transgender, queer. Rainbow Soul will contact you through a message depending on the platform you commented during the live to get your address/mailing information for your sticker. We do not share any of this information, including your email. You will receive Rainbow Soul newsletter, but you can always unsubscribe if you choose.
Welcome to Rainbow Soul, a live show and podcast in search of deep answers and medicine about consciousness, spirituality, witchcraft, natural magic, and queer, inclusive spiritual paths of many varieties. We will explore the use of herbs, candles, colors, and nature in our personal lives, as well as queer-inspired rituals designed with transgender and non-binary people in mind. We are welcoming all pagans, indigenous two-spirits, witchy folks, conscious seekers, and people off the beaten path who want to explore the human spiritual experience that we are all capable of having. With a deep reverence in anti-racist values, inclusivity, and a healthy and honest respect for our ancestors, Rainbow Soul brings diverse guests and topics all related to queer spiritual experience. Tap into this amazing resource live and find a supportive, safe environment while exploring interesting topics and diverse guests. Listen on your favorite podcast platform and catch the show at your convenience and still participate in the contest and games. Get more information about games and contests at our website, RainbowSoul.show. RainbowSoul.show. Thank you for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back, LeKross.
Yes, I'm back. It feels like it's been forever.
It does feel like that.
Oh.
Well, I've definitely missed you, and let me introduce myself. I'm Hollis Taylor from Rainbow Soul, and I have a website called Divine Androgyne. I'm divineandrogyne.com, and I do all kinds of things. Psychic readings, I wrote a book, and a lot of coaching and things like that. So, LeKross, tell us who you are.
I'm LeKross Ortiz, Jack of all trades, master of none. I'm a Jewish Taino atheist, and I believe that spirituality doesn't have to be led by the divine. It's more of a journey and lots of accountability. So, that's where I stand.
Well, that's fabulous. And guys, I'm going to tell you that we had Marlon Pixico scheduled. I'm not sure what happened, but maybe there was some confusion about time zones or something like that. But we can't seem to get a hold of him at this time. If he pops in, we'll definitely bring him in the show. And I'm so sorry about that if you tuned in to catch Marlon. I know there's a lot of people out there, the Standing Rock Network and things like that. So if you tuned in to see him, I'm sorry right now. But the cool thing is that LeKross came up with a great alternative.
Yep. like indigenous people, we believe in like your birth totem. It kind of coincides a little bit with astrology. Not every, I want to clear this part up. Northern indigenous and southern indigenous and central indigenous people, we all have different types of power totems or birth totems or spirit guides or spirit totems. There's so many different, you know, things. So some people don't like the term totems. If you don't, I apologize. I personally prefer to call them spirit guides, but I do call my birth totem, like mine is the crow. So what I wanted to do is kind of like talk about each animal and the months that they coincide with, what direction they're from, and things like that. And then you can kind of take notes. There is a website. It's a pretty generic website, so you're going to get basic generic information. It's called whatsmyspiritanimal.com. You know, it says Native American zodiac. Once again, I apologize for the terminology. You know, some places still aren't up to up with the program when it comes to terminology. So we're ready to dive in. I'm going to start later in the year, only because, like, to me, a lot of people think the beginning is spring. For me, I prefer the fall. So I'm going to kind of start like summer leading into fall. So we're going to start with basically the first one, and that's bear. Now, bear is from August 23rd, I think, to September 22nd. Okay. And
Wow, that's me.
yeah, so you're a bear totem. And bears, and one thing I like to elaborate, do not focus just on the spiritual meaning. Do the science, do the work, do the research, because there's so much information that can be given, like something as perfect with the bear. They hibernate. Why do they hibernate? What's the purpose of hibernation? They hibernate for a reason. They're literally closing and shutting down because it's the cold weather. They can't hunt. They can't do anything. So they know that this is a good time to shut down. So how would you apply that spiritually? Whether it's in the winter or whatever time in your life, if the bear guide comes to you, it's telling you, shut down, take time, slow down, hibernate for a little bit. Because sometimes, sorry, there's a fly. I don't know what that's trying to tell me. But, you know, sometimes you got to set time aside for yourself and just go inside in deep so that you can reevaluate things. But another thing about the bear is they're avid, like they are fierce protectors, especially of their young. They're very fierce protectors of their families. And we're not just talking blood families, people who they call them their families. You know, they are their direction is from the west. Another thing about bears is they do think deeply. They observe life a lot. They observe people a lot. You know, so these are just, like I said, just a few quick things about the bear. Like, Hollis, do you think, since now that you know your birth is a bear, can you think of things of the bear that you identify with?
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, well, in the wintertime, when fall gets here, I'm usually like, yeah, gather all the vegetables.
Yeah.
I try to get as much food as I can on
Oh
my
yeah.
shelf and stuff. And I'm like ready to hibernate to some degree. And to some
Right.
degree, I kind of end up kind of being a little bit not isolated, but I kind of den
Yeah.
up. And
Yeah.
and I do a lot of self healing usually in the wintertime. And I usually
Right.
work on a project or something, and I usually have
Yeah.
like something in mind. And I think what's interesting about bears is their massiveness. Their like, have you ever encountered a live bear? It's kind of a scary moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're
I
so
never
big.
have, but I think you have a story to share about that.
I do. I just like a couple of weeks ago, you guys, it's spring up here in the Rocky Mountains. Okay, so June is spring, all right, and so I have motion lights in my backyard because I have wildlife and I want to know when they walk by.
Mm.
And there's this little path that comes up from the national forest up into the neighborhood, and there's the lights go off, and I get up and look out the window just out of curiosity. And I am eye to eye with a very, very, very large. He's brown, but he's a black bear.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So his face is real black, and he's huge.
Right.
And that's
Right.
kind of, your heart drops into your belly,
Yeah.
especially since there was only one not very strong glass door between us.
Right.
And
Right.
he looked in my eyes and I looked in his eyes. And I felt like every time this happens, usually something big in my life shifts.
Right.
And I think that's what's about to happen. But,
Right.
and that was like kind of the omen or whatever. But it also was like he had just woken up. You could tell.
Mm.
It was
Yeah.
spring, right? Like,
Yeah.
kind of just woke up. And
Yeah.
your heart drops into your belly. And I
Oh,
just
yeah.
stepped back, and the shock and everything that comes with seeing a bear live, especially just 5 or 10 feet away from you, was totally there. And I felt
Right.
a little overwhelmed,
Right.
but at the same, but I mean, just big bears can sometimes be overwhelming, I think,
Oh, yeah.
in
Oh,
their
yeah.
presence. And sometimes I can be. Sometimes I can be too overwhelming. Like,
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the whole thing is when you start seeing how you coincide with your birth animal or your birth spirit, you're just like, wow, this is me. This is so me. All these attributes, they coincide. Now the next one, of course, is my favorite because it's the crow. So that's September 23rd through October 22nd.
Okay.
Now the crow, of course, I'm a huge fan of the crow. The crow has been with me my entire life. Crows are tricksters. And that's another thing I also do want to reiterate. Don't just look at the good of the animal, look at the bad as well, because then that could be a soul correction you can find within yourself. Crows
What do you
are
mean a
tricks.
soul correction? Like
A
something you can
Okay, like
supposed to do?
bears can be overly aggressive to the point of mean. So if you don't want to be mean, that's a soul correction. That's something that that's within yourself that you have to work. Like the crow is a very good manipulator. And I know that if I'm not careful, I can be very manipulative to get my own gain. I'm like, ooh, that's shiny. I want it. What am I going to do to get it? And if I'm not careful, I could use manipulation. I prefer to work for it. And because crows are busybodies, and they're always working. So there's a balance to that you have to find. You can be aggressive, but you can be aggressive more factual than mean. Like with the bear, with the crow, instead of being manipulative, maybe you can be that busybody. Maybe you can work really hard because crows are working 24/7. They're always, the only time they don't really have a lot of movement is at night. And I know they get this bad omen that they're like, oh my God, if a crow is crowing at night, it's a bad thing. No, actually, it's a good thing because they're warning you of impending danger. Because most of the times they're in their nest. And if they're crowing, they're giving away where they are, where the owl can come, which is one of their enemies is the owl, and will come and eat their eggs. But they're also very intelligent. They have 3 different nests that they make. So you're not going to find them that easy. So, but if a crow does crow at night, it's because they're warning you something's coming. Be careful, be cautious, be aware. So that's just, once again, little thing of the crow. Next one is, bear with me, I'm kind of scrolling through here. October 23rd through about November 21st. First is the snake totem. Snake, of course, everybody knows about the snake. It's shedding of the skin, starting over. But there's also negative things. They don't really think. They just eat. They just indulge. They're just out to do whatever it is they want to do and not really think of the consequences of it. So when you're a snake, you have to be careful. Yes, it's good to eat. It's good to shed skin and rejuvenate, but don't do it carelessly. Don't, if I don't know if you have any insight on the snake or anything
I
like that.
do, because I was thinking that it definitely aligns with Scorpio, which is what I'm noticing here. Like bear, I guess it could be kind of Virgo, and then you just did crow, and then I was
Yeah.
like, that's kind of Libra-like, and then
Yeah.
Scorpio-like. Snakes are definitely Scorpio-like
Yeah.
because Scorpio is about transformation,
Right.
and so snakes. I've had pet snakes, and I love snakes.
Oh yeah.
And I would say that is something that I've had to master. Being a Scorpio rising, I
Right.
have had to be careful about my stinger because it
Yeah.
stings.
It's the same thing with the snake. You have to be careful of your bite, because you could be venomous if you're not careful, and that can cause a lot of damage and a lot of hurt. But I'm not gonna lie, my snake, when she would tighten up around me, there was a comfort I would get of her just, you know, I don't know, just her tightening up around me, feeling her muscles and her scales just going across my skin. There was just something comforting from that for me. I mean, most people are like, ew, snake. I don't like it. But no, I love them. So,
Me too. I'm right there with
yeah.
you, LeKross. I love them too. They're
And
it's, I used to always call it snuggling.
yeah, exactly. Next one we're looking at December 23rd to January 19th. The direction is the north, and it's the snow goose or goose. Um, Now, I don't really know a lot about the goose. Here it says they are seekers of spiritual enlightenment at the highest levels. Though stoic, the geese, love belongs to no other than a true twin flame. Now, I've never observed geese because when I've seen geese, they're a little aggressive. Like if you're new too close to their babies, man, they will come with a vengeance. They will come with an aggression like I've never seen. But I also go to that ugly duckling, beautiful swan. When I think of the geese, they're beautiful. I think that's very transformative too. Like when you think of even so much as the story of the little ugly duckling that turned into this beautiful um, geese or swan. The struggles that they go through when they can finally, you go through a lot of struggles and then you finally come to this beauty, to this acceptance of yourself. I could just be throwing that out there. I don't know. But so, yeah, I
Yeah, I don't
mean,
know. Geese are usually pretty territorial.
yeah.
And yeah, they're very territorial and protective of their eggs.
Oh, yeah.
My son used to get attacked by a goose all the time. Um,
Wow. Wow.
we would
Yeah.
go to this place we would go through, and they had a goose. And if any, like little kids, they're smaller, so they're
Yeah.
intimidated by me, who's standing at barely 5 foot. But the
Right.
little kids who are just a couple feet, they weren't intimidated by them, and they they would attack pretty much any kid that showed up on the land.
Oh, that's funny. That's
So the
funny.
kids, yeah, she
Yeah.
was pretty aggressive, and she when she wasn't having babies, she
Yeah.
still was aggressive. So
Mm.
she was territorial. She was like, "This is my porch," even though her babies are grown. Or well, most of the time we ate her eggs. So
Oh, well, yeah, I guess that'll do it. She's like, I was also thinking migration because they do migrate. That's a very interesting thing. Traveling, a lot of change, constant, because they migrate every year and they come back every year. So that might be something. Maybe it has a lot to do with like migration and change. I did see this comment, a Facebook user. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. Said, I guess this is going back to the bear. I once had something similar happen with a mountain lion in the North Carolina Appalachian. It came right up onto the porch. Something like that. Like when you encounter them, like they're there for a reason. They like an animal, an insect, a bird. They're not just going to pop into your life. And, and my wife made an interesting point one time. She was like, if you see them all the time. I said, but do you pay attention? I think that's the difference. Yeah, we know flies are around all the time. A spider is always within 3 feet of us at all times. And a lot of people don't know that. You literally have a spider 3 feet near you, whoever you are.
sure I
But
do.
yeah, and you's out there 3 feet around you, you just don't see it. They're very good at hiding. But when you think about that, when you finally notice and pay attention and it keeps coming back and coming back, or sometimes you'll go in a day and you'll just see something that has to do with this certain animal multiple times, and you're like, stop, think, okay, what is this? What are they trying to teach us? Because they're a part of the Earth Mother. They're a part of everything. So just pay attention to that little bit, because you don't know the beautiful gem of a lesson it can give you.
Yeah, Eve was just saying, okay, Eve, I think this is funny. That they went to college on a nature preserve and geese would actually chase people, and they left their regards everywhere. So look, there's goose shit in Colorado. The geese
Right.
love to come through here. They love it. It's it's geese. It's just the type of place they like to be, and so they're here a lot. And you go to the park in some parks, and it's like goose poop everywhere. And they like to be together. It doesn't seem to bother them, but they like to hang out together. That's the other thing. They're in a group. And so then I thought it was interesting what Brighthawk was saying, which is they said snow goose correlates to Sag, loves to travel, philosophy, and of course Brighthawk's a Sag, so
totally relating.
And I would say that Sages like to be part of the group. In fact, usually they're the charming one of the group. So I'm wondering if geese also like to, since geese like to be in a group, they like to be part of the group. They like to have a group or a family unit or something.
That's actually, because I have a son who's Sagittarius, and he's very much like that. He is literally the center of everything in a group gathering, and he is very much into, everybody come over, let's have game night, or everybody come over, he's very like oriented in that way. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
They're very social.
Oh, here's a comment. Sandy, it's been rabbits with me lately every time I walk out into my yard. And so since the rabbits are coming, I would definitely just take the time. You don't have to take a lot of time, but just start looking at the research on the science behind rabbits. How seasonal are they? What do they do? What is their, basic life, their love life? Like, how do they reproduce, mate? Well, we know how they reproduce, but like, what are their mating strategies? Things like that, look into everything, because no little bit of information is too small. Everything is significant.
Are they in this? Are they in the native? I'm
pretty sure they. Well, I don't know if they have. Yeah, I don't know if they have. You know what I think? What did we just do? We just did. I'm sorry. Geese. I think I jumped ahead. I missed one. Oops. Actually, yeah. Sorry. Sag is partial, also owl. So I kind of did a little oopsie. November 22nd to December 21st. The owl, which, I mean, honestly, owls are honesty, owls are wisdom, owls are nocturnal, owls are also predatory animals, birds. So I kind of skipped that. Sorry, my bad, because it's kind of all over the place. So I'm jumping through it quickly.
Okay.
So that way we can get a little bit about everything. Rabbits, it depends, because not every area has the same birth signs. Like the East Coast may be different than the West. The West may be different than the South. The South may be different from further north, like Canada or Alaska. Each area is different. So I'm sure that it is a birth totem. I don't necessarily know, because I'm just going basic on here in North America, Northeast America. That's where I'm going. So, if you're born somewhere else, it may be different. So it always varies, because each tribe varied. Each medicine wheel was different. So each representation of a spirit guide is going to be different.
You know what I just can totally see you doing, LeKross?
What?
Because you're so good with this totem thing.
Yeah.
Is that you could come up with a totem set for Taino. Because I'm thinking about down there that they would have like monkeys and
in Central America and Caribbean, yeah, there's a lot to pick from, because I know even Puerto Rico, we're so proud of our coqui, and our coqui is all of like this big, but it's this big noise maker. And I know that each area has one. I would love to research more on the animals that are from there, because some of them were brought in. So I
I
don't know
think
how
you
that
could
would
write the
vary.
book. I think you could write the book, LeKross. I
I
think
don't
you
know. I
could do
could
it.
take a look at it and see how they definitely correlate. That would definitely be a lot of work. It'd be worth the work. That would
Uh-huh.
definitely be worth the work.
I have encountered a sloth. So just
Oh,
thinking about
really?
that. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So
Yeah.
so anyway, go back to the list.
Okay. So yeah, we had so far we've had what? The bear. We've had the raven. We've
Raven.
had the goose. We've had the owl. We had the snake. And now I think next would be, sorry, I'm zipping through because I want to do this quickly. The otter. Otters to me are adorable. That's January 20th through February 18th. Wait, no, why do I feel like I'm missing from December? Okay, yeah, the goose was actually from December 22nd to January 19th. Okay, so January 20th to February 18th is the otter. So when you think of, you know, what does an otter represent? That's also another builder. It's a builder. They're ridiculously independent. They're constantly busybody, working. Thing about the otter is you have to be careful. If you don't want to work too much and then not be able to enjoy the benefits of the fruits that you've labored for. And once again, we're talking about the good and the bad and each representation. And I think that sometimes with the otter, you got to, if you have that, you have to recognize and say, I need to sit back. It's not always go, 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 go. It's not always build, build, build. Let me sit back. Let me take it easy for a minute. And also, since it's the winter, that's a perfect time for you to sit there and say, okay, maybe I need to slow down. Maybe it's not such a hurry because nothing's really happening at the moment anyway, because it's, we're in that sleep or that hibernating season, So, yeah, also it is, it's an air. It's northeast. So that is pretty much, do you have anything on the otter?
I was trying to think about them. Sandy said that would be me. I love the otters.
Yeah.
I have encountered otters. They're very adorable. I thought the way that they swam was really cool.
Yeah.
And they're always in pairs. They like to have a buddy. I don't know that it's like a male and a female together, but there's always two of them together when I would see them. Usually they would be swimming up the river. You see the little heads go by. We were lucky enough to be on the road in the van, and here I am at my little desk that looks out of my van on the river in California, and these little guys just
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
like,
you just see him swimming around. That's and it's funny that it's considered air since they're always in the water. So I find that interesting because I don't know how that will correlate with air. So that's something I'd like to dig a little bit deeper. Oh, this is cute. They have a little pouch in their tummy to carry their rocks that they play with.
oh, that's
Yeah.
oh my gosh, they're very playful looking.
Yes.
When you watch
Yes.
them, they're very playful look. They look like they're having a good time all the time.
Yeah. Okay. And so I think that was the first 6. Was that the first 6?
Mhm.
Okay. Then we could take a quick break and then we'll come into the next 6.
All right.
All right. So we will see everyone in a few minutes. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go.
Support Rainbow Soul. Check out the Rainbow Soul merchandise for your favorite new shirt. A variety of colors and styles to suit your taste. Show off your love for Rainbow Soul. Get cool designs with your favorite quotes. Designs come in a variety of colors so that you can express your most authentic self. Support Rainbow Soul in spreading the word that queer, gender variant, intersex, transgender is sacred. Rainbow Soul, putting the soul back into queer. Order your unique Rainbow Soul merchandise at RainbowSoul.show.
Jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So what exactly does that mean? It is a figure of speech in reference to a person who has dabbled in many things rather than gaining expertise by only focusing on one. So much knowledge and wisdom out there at our fingertips, yet so difficult to grasp. Everything and everyone has a little piece of the truth, and it is up to us to determine what our truth is. In this busy world, creating the time, the space to nourish our bodies, mind, and soul has become a difficult task. So let's take a moment to learn something small, in whatever way the universe decides to reveal it. It could be someone's story, a quote, a spiritual practice, maybe a song or a movie. The opportunities are limitless and all around us if we just take a moment to see. We are all students of life experiences, so let us learn from one another. There is no right or wrong path. There is only your path and your journey. So let's begin our adventure and explore all the world has to offer, and let us become a master of none. All right, we're back.
Fabulous. Welcome back, everyone.
Yep. What's next? Well, the next one actually has been a guide. Not so much, it's not obviously my birth totem because that's the crow, but it has been a huge guide recently for me, and it's the wolf. The wolf is from February 19th to March 20th. Now, wolves are definite pack animals, family oriented. There are lone wolves, but that's not a real common thing. Sorry, this fly.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look up this fly. He is just getting to me. It's saying I'm a nuisance. No.
You know what makes me think of any insect really, but the Dalai Lama talks about how mosquitoes being as small as they are making such a huge impact on, have you ever tried to sleep in the same room with a mosquito? And of course you're like, oh, that doesn't happen. And so he talks about bugs being such small creatures, but able to make such a big impact on your experience. And I think that what he's trying to say there is that even though to remember that even though you might feel like a small, that you're actually making a big impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna figure out that. Okay, yeah. I'm like looking for that fly. But yeah, no, that makes total sense. That makes total sense.
Wisdom from the Buddha. Wisdom from the Dalai Lama.
Exactly. Yeah, there's always, I love him. I just love him.
Me too.
But going to the wolf now, another thing that I've noticed, like people are always about leader of the pack. And yeah, that's all fine. But what's beautiful is in the pack, each individual has a job to do. Yes, they have the leader and, somebody has to lead, but it's not about having followers. It's more about having people who have different areas of expertise. And that's one thing that I noticed about wolves. Like, some will just go out and hunt. Some will protect the front of the pack. Some will protect the back of the pack. Some will protect the middle of the pack. Like everybody has a job and they know what their job is. They're content doing their job. And I think that's the whole thing is that a lot of people, they see the wolf and they just see it as this aggressor and don't realize that they are very family oriented. like I said, there is no lone wolf. That's not common. And if there is a lone wolf, you can guarantee in the wilderness it will die if it's not
You
accepted
think
by
so?
another pack. Yeah, it
Because
will. It will.
so this was my experience as I was camping in pretty sure it was Utah.
Mhm.
Sorry, I RV'd around the country and sometimes you lose track of where you are.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I was in Utah and we were at this free campsite. So that means it's like BLM land. There's no
Right.
development, there's no water. Okay. And so we're just out there camping for free. And it was
Right.
early in the morning. I want to do my morning practice. I take my yoga mat down to the water, just a few steps away from where we're camping. And I'm sitting there meditating, and I'm not shitting you, but a wolf
Mm.
walks up to the water and looks to his right at me,
Mhm.
and then of course gets scared, jumps over the water and takes off in the tall grass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I tell you what, by the time I processed that it was a wolf, he was gone.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
he was fast, and I wondered, like, is he with another wolf? But I don't know. Like I don't know if he would warn the other wolf somehow.
Yeah.
And
To keep them away.
that's
Keep
the
them
kind of
with the
thing
safety.
that I was wondering about. So I did read there was a park thing nearby. Like it was at a park
Right.
that had a thing that said sometimes wolves are there. We were at the national parks in Utah, and
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they said something about that the wolves usually travel in a group, but that's
Yeah.
sometimes they are alone.
Yeah.
I
Well.
don't know
Yeah.
how long he would last.
Well, see, that's the thing is you don't know if he was a scout. You don't know if he was out like surveying, like if he was just seeing if it's safe for the rest of the pack to go. I mean, like I said, usually lone wolves don't last because they have to do it all. They have to hunt, they have to, they can't do it all. And they normally they have to be within a pack to survive. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's just not really common. It's not really heard of. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike is saying he might have been a ranger or a scout who patrols the
Yeah.
borders of Pac-Land. Because there
Yeah.
was no other wolves, and I didn't hear any
Yeah.
howling or
Yeah.
anything. I did hear howling the night before, but
Right.
you often hear coyotes and stuff like that out there.
Right.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
definitely. Definitely. So I mean, that's been like a big thing with me lately. Um because like I've been so family oriented, and now that my children have left the house, it's harder to be in the pack because my pack is, I guess, expanded out, and now they made their own pack. So it's just my pack getting smaller, I guess. I don't know. But yeah.
don't worry. There'll be other people that come along that can make up your pack.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's
definitely.
how I always see it. There's
Yeah.
always, you get to meet new people, you get new pack members.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right. So now moving into March 21st to April 19th is the Falcon. Now, falcons, once again, bird of prey. They fly very high. They are definitely how do you say, they're a bird of prey. They hunt, they kill, they feed. I don't really myself know a lot about the falcon. I know that here it's basically saying visionaries who quest for wisdom gives wings to their soul, which makes sense. So in the medicine wheel, its lesson is to let go of the ego. That's very interesting. But I myself, if anybody has any ideas on what they think a falcon can represent, because I mean, I don't know all of them. I'm just like I could go through it and say, oh, I know this about this animal. I know that about that bird, but I don't know it all. This is always a learning process and a journey.
The first thing I think about with the falcon is the the perspective, which
Yeah.
also happens with like eagles and hawks.
Yeah.
But like sometimes Bright Hawk will even say, "I want to get a hawk perspective of this,"
Right.
and I think that's just like I want to see the whole thing, you know. And so I was so I'm thinking that maybe the falcon people have a way of getting sort of up above things
Yeah.
and seeing the whole picture and that could give them different perspective on things. Because
Right.
sometimes, especially when we're triggered, like we're upset or something, we get really minute on the details.
Right.
At least I do, and that might have something to do, with being a Virgo bear type person.
Right.
But but the falcon can get, I would imagine, could get a better perspective.
That makes a
Ooh.
lot of sense because in the Taino, we like our sacred bird is the red-tailed hawk, and it can actually fly. I think out of all the birds, it can fly the highest, and can even see higher than the lower bird's perspective. So that's why it's considered so sacred because it can fly so high. So yeah, that makes total sense that it's about perspective and how they would look at situations. And if you're seeking wisdom, the first thing you're going to want to do is see perspective. You're not just going to want to see one point of view. You're going to want to see them all. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That definitely makes a lot of sense. All right, now next up we have this one I actually encountered not too long ago. It's the beaver. It's from April 20th to May 20th. They are another one's unstoppable with work. Unstoppable with work. I was going to pick up my medication, and right in the field in the middle of nowhere, like it was just this beaver, but there was like a drain not too far, and I could see him. He's going, and then he has a mouthful, and he's running over somewhere else. I says, "He's trying to stop up that drain," And what I love about the beaver, no matter how big the situation may be, they build a way to, I guess, to deal with it. They always have a way that they like they keep putting and investing and investing and investing until they can sit there and build up that dam. And they are ones who do see the fruits of their labor, because once they're done with the dam, that's it. Now we're going to sit here and look at it, and I've always appreciated beavers. I guess I got the otter and the beaver a little confused because the otters play. So I guess I'm a little wrong on the otters because they do love to play. Beavers work, and then they enjoy it, So, oh, here we go. Here's a comment. When hawks are mating overhead, it is good luck for long-lasting marriage below. Ooh,
Do they
that
mate
is
over?
interesting.
Wait a minute. Do they mate in the air? Like
I didn't know that.
They get the part of the Mile High Club.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Oh, here's a good
hilarious.
one. Recently, I learned the ravens and wolves will form working relationships. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. The raven will let wolves know about recently dead animals, and the wolves will leave scraps for the ravens in payment of thanks. That is 100%. They do basically work hand in hand. That is definitely true. Now, of course, sadly, that won't work in the city. A dog is not going to help a crow, and a crow is not going to help a dog, but definitely out there in real wilderness, they do work hand in hand. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing because the bird will go way up ahead and it will scout and look. And, now if you're a lone wolf, that's the way to go. Let me tell you, have a raven ahead of you and make sure that they're guiding you to some type of food,
Yeah,
And
and I was just thinking about my dog, and we have a lot of ravens and crows. I don't know what the difference is. I guess they're ravens here.
crows have a straight beak. Ravens are hooked, and ravens are much larger than crows.
Okay, they're definitely bigger.
Yeah.
So there's a raven. The ravens fly around here all the time, and they like to mess with my dog.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. They're tricksters. They're tricksters. All in all, they are tricksters. Now, one thing, okay, one of the lessons that the beaver does teach is to become more open-minded. So that is one of the lessons that usually are to be taught. I think Eve had another comment. They have a mating dance. Friends actually,
the hawks. Okay,
yes.
So the hawks have a mating dance. Friends actually knew a couple who got married outside, and hawks were mating above. Wow. I've never seen that. Have you, LeKross?
No, never. That would be a sight to see. That would definitely be a sight to see. Okay. Deer. Deer totem, May 21st through June 20th. Okay, deers are beautiful because they're so gentle. They are very gentle, and they're like there's a beauty to them and a kindness to them with people who have that birth thing. I My wife, I in one of the different ones, she is a deer, and I always think of her when I think of these things because of the kindness and the gentleness and the way that she is, especially with people. She just has an amazing way about her. Where me as the crow, I don't have that. I'm the the spaz, and she's just the gentle one. Hi, is everybody doing okay? But yeah, they're very passionate, and I think it says here they love passionately and completely. Now, I think it says the lesson to learn is to become less anxious and more grounded. They're also very cautious, very, very cautious, because when you think a predator is coming by, there's always that thing, deer in the middle of the headlights, they stop, they're cautious, they're always aware of their surroundings, and that's actually a good quality. The bad quality would to become too anxious and too skittish about everything. So, I think that the deer definitely has some pretty interesting lessons to learn.
I was thinking about when I don't. Some people know this, some people don't. But when you go to a national park, the animals there are usually less skittish. They're
Yeah.
less afraid. Because there's nobody hunting. Okay,
Yeah.
you're not allowed to shoot a gun, so they don't have that. Okay, and
Right.
most of them don't have predators. So just recently, when we were at Black Canyon National Park here in Colorado, um, there was a deer, in our camp area just outside the park, and the deer was just like, I mean, our dog is barking at it, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's just eating
Not
the leaves
amazed,
on
not
its cheek,
amused.
and it's just looking at the dog like whatever. And then after a few minutes, she gets a little annoyed, and she
Yeah.
walks around our our van,
Right,
and
right.
then goes and eats somewhere else. Lets me film her,
Mm,
lets me follow her, and everything.
nice.
I don't get real close, but she's
Right,
cautious. She lets me get close enough to get good pictures and video, but
right.
she was not that concerned. Most of the time, like you think of like a dog barks at
Yeah.
a deer, the deer's gonna take off.
Run off. Yeah.
Uh, and just early, but here's the messed up part: is just the day before, Charlie had been reprimanded for chasing a wild deer. He's not allowed
Yeah.
to do that, okay? And
Mm,
so he got reprimanded by me,
yeah.
and he did stop. He stopped immediately and came to me. It was a great learning moment for my dog that we
Right.
don't chase deer. You know what I mean? And I was like wondering if it was the same deer. Like she's like, yeah, you're not allowed to chase me.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You got in trouble.
Oh my
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That is great.
god.
Yeah.
So the deer that come through our yard are
Mhm.
usually very gentle. What I do notice about deer is their family units.
Yes. Yes.
They have very interesting family units, like
Absolutely.
a couple of females, and one or two males, bucks. The bucks come out first, and they sort of scout, like
Yeah.
I guess like the wolf does, and then
Yeah.
the females come with the babies. Especially in the spring, you'll see a lot of babies. Little
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah. Definitely a bunch of little Bambies.
Yeah.
Here, I mean, we see a lot, like as you go further into south in the city, literally you could end up seeing one like 5 blocks away. I'm in the inner city, but if you walk about 5 blocks south, you'll see them in the cemetery. You'll see them because there's the county park, and that's another place you can't hunt there. So a lot of them hang out at the county park.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Pittsburgh is like that too.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know why, but something about
Yeah.
Pennsylvania and their wildlife.
Here's a comment. We have a rather large herd that hangs out on my property. It's not uncommon to see them multiple times per week. That's beautiful. Yeah,
That's
I think
beautiful.
that's just beautiful. Okay, what are we up next? I think the next one is the woodpecker. Now let me find it.
Aw.
Yeah, the woodpecker. I always think of Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, June 21st through July 21st. Now, they are kind-hearted community, and family caretakers. Though possessive, woodpeckers' love is utterly devoted and faithful. Now, the lesson they teach is to how to let things go. Now, woodpeckers, that's another thing I don't really know a lot outside of they just bang their head and peck at a hole to make a hole. Um, I don't really know a lot about them. So if anybody
Well,
has
I
any
know they're
insight,
eating. I know that their relationship with the trees is a little
mhm.
symbiotic because
Okay.
they eat parasites off. That's what they're eating. That's what they're
Ah,
pecking at. They're eating. They're trying to get to their food, which is just beyond the bark, you know.
oh,
And
that's neat.
out here in Colorado, woodpeckers are super important because
Yeah.
they eat the beetle bug, which is the one that is killing the trees and creating easier fires, okay?
Yeah.
Because the stuff pretty much turns to kindling once that bug gets a hold of it.
Yeah.
Although the
Yeah.
interesting thing about that bug is that it leaves little tracks under the bark. But
Huh.
that's from what I understand about woodpeckers is that's why they're very important and they live almost everywhere actually.
Yeah.
There's different types, but they mostly live everywhere. And if you've ever witnessed one, that's what they're doing. They're pecking to get food, and they're getting parasites that aren't usually good for the tree.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so it's symbiotic relationship with the trees.
Very interesting. That is
Birds have a
very,
lot of that going on, though. So
yeah. Yeah.
birds tend to
Definitely.
have symbiotic relationships with trees because
Definitely.
that's where they live. So,
Right.
you know, yeah.
No, definitely. Okay.
Woodpeckers are, I don't know if you've ever felt one fly over your head. They're bigger than you think they are.
No, I've sadly I've seen one like at a distance, but I've never
When they
nah,
fly,
never.
you're just kind of like, whoa. It's just a little
Yeah.
bigger than you think they are. They're kind of
Yeah.
like ravens like that, you know? And
Oh,
ravens are
okay.
real big when
Oh
they
yeah.
fly towards you. You're like, whoa, okay. Right? And that's woodpeckers kind of have that
Oh, that's neat. That's neat. Well, see, we're all learning here. We
energy.
are all learning. Now we are down to the last one, July
Okay.
22nd to August 22nd, the salmon. Now, salmon is people navigate life with contagious enthusiasm and inspiring generosity of spirit. Though egotistic, salmon's love is lavish and given with a noble heart. Now, the lesson of the salmon is to dial it down. Just take it down a notch. That's what a lot of people should be learning. But salmon, aren't they the ones that swim upstream,
Only
right?
when they're going to lay their eggs.
Okay. Okay.
So they usually salmon, I'm pretty sure they grow up in the spring when they're born and they
Hmm.
follow down this river and they go out into the ocean or whatever. And
Hmm.
then when it's time, they come back to their original place that they were
Yeah.
born, which this is the most fascinating part because they always come back to the exact same tributary that they were born in.
Interesting.
And scientists don't know why.
Huh.
And or even the capability that the fish remembers where they were born.
Wow.
And so that then they swim upstream and that's when the bears it's a harder swim for
Right.
them, but and not all of most of them, actually a lot of them don't make it. And
Hmm.
these days it's getting harder and harder for them. But
Right.
yeah, so salmon swim upstream and then the bears catch them. Um, Salmon are fascinating to me.
Yeah.
They're fascinating creatures. I have learned to appreciate the meat of a salmon
Right.
and the abundance that salmons represent because
Right.
that's why the bears eat them because there's usually used to be an abundance of them. Like more than any other fish. And
Wow.
like some fish, if you guys are not educated about this, I encourage you to be so. Just look it up. There are some fish that are older than you are, and you're eating them.
Wow. Wow.
And salmon are not like that. Okay, salmon are, and I don't know that we should be farming them, but we are. But salmon, the wild salmon that swim upstream and everything like that, they have a special energy about them.
Mhm.
And there's definitely a difference between a farm salmon and a fresh salmon. And I
Yeah.
would say that salmon, um, they represent not only abundance but sustainability
Right.
to some
Right.
degree. Because if we were taking care of our planet, we could all eat salmon every day and we wouldn't
Yeah.
hurt the environment, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So that's really what and maybe that's because of my background with the Oregon Indigenous the reading that I've done with the Oregon Indigenous peoples. I don't know, but
Right. Right.
that's what they feel like to me. They feel like abundance and sustainability
Right.
and
Right.
a harmonious relationship. Like they kind of try to remind you every year of the harmony between humans and nature.
Mm. Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. That's beautiful. I think Eric wrote, I always interpret the salmon to meaning going on no matter the odds or things stacked against you, continue on and don't give up the fight. Yeah, I definitely
And that's what's
see
going
that.
on right now.
Yeah.
That's even what's going on with them, like as far as the environmental
Yeah.
crisis goes. That's
Exactly.
happening in our world. That in fact, that's one of the big things that we can thank all of the indigenous tribes nationwide and
Yeah.
worldwide is that a lot of the indigenous tribes are reminding us how important it is for us all to harvest a natural relationship, a naturally healthy relationship with Mother Nature. And that
Yeah.
means in harmony. And I think we've forgotten what that can look like.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
we're gonna be leaving the time of the woodpecker and we're gonna be going into the time of the salmon. So I think at this time it would be a good time to really like look into the woodpecker, even though it's the ending part, and we're gonna be going into the salmon. Like just take whatever lessons we can get from the woodpecker and then start researching the salmon as we go into that point for within the next month. It's like the same thing with astrology. As you go into the astrology, people are just like, oh, okay, we're shifting from what is it, Cancer now. Wait, no.
we're in
Wait, no,
Cancer
with
right now.
Cancer. So now next we're going to be going into, I think it's wait,
Leo.
Leo. We're going into Leo. So it's it's the same thing, as you start feeling that energy from that zodiac. Same thing with the animals. You start feeling that energy from these animals and these guides and start taking them with you. Because even though you don't have to look at it just as, oh, okay, this was my birth and this is what I have to focus on. It's every month. There's a different one, so learn each one and start adapting it to you at that time. No different than the moon. The moon is in what? It'll be in this zodiac. Oh, then I got to prepare for this. Or, we're coming into this season. I got to prepare for that. What's the same thing with these animals? So.
Yeah, I think that's really cool to think of it in an animal sort of way. I mean,
Mhm.
Chinese astrology does a very similar thing. Um, it- you know, um, Chinese astrology. I enjoy Chinese astrology, and I've looked up. Like I'm a wooden rabbit. Um, so like Earth rabbit or something like that. So
Right.
and it does fit me. So I find that Chinese astrology is kind of a similar way, and I think that that's interesting that they use animals,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
much like the indigenous people did. Yeah,
Absolutely. And like I said, this is just a quick, like, this doesn't even scratch the surface. You could literally do hours and hours and hours on end with just one. It's insane.
but it was fun going through
Yeah,
all the different ones.
yeah. But I'm hoping that it'll pique people's interest to want to learn more and, just get out there and start researching them, because there's just so much gems out there. There's just so many gems. I'm always on the lookout for something. Like every time I leave my house, I'm looking, okay, what do one of you have to tell me today? Because I need some lessons in my life,
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
watch a lot of David Attenborough. I find that he's incredibly intelligent. I love his
Mhm.
movies, his
Yeah.
documentaries,
Yeah.
and I find that that's like actually my prefer. If I'm gonna watch TV, that's what I'm gonna watch.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
documentary, and usually it's David Attenborough. I don't know why. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
And you have to appreciate his passion for the earth.
Oh
So and
yeah.
his however, I think the man is like 90 something.
Oh.
So he has however many years experience and he's still doing it, man. You just have to rock on with that man.
I had a beautiful conversation with my youngest, because she's just into frogs, like just loves frogs. And we're sitting at the table and I said, okay, well, what did you learn about the frog? They jump. And I'm like, okay, we all know that. And I'm like, what did you learn? I said, have you researched that? Because this is something to instill in the children too, because they're the next ones. They're taking the world now. And she just kind of looked at me and I said, because she's like, oh, that's what she said. It's my spirit guide. I said, do you know what that even means? I said, that's very sacred for my people. And for you to just say that, you have to respect that. And it ended up in a beautiful conversation. And now she's just like learning everything about the frog and how can she apply it to her life. And it's such a beautiful thing to watch these children start taking the reins of that, and you're
Yeah,
never too old to start learning them. Yeah.
right. Oh, Eric said I've been seeing a bunch of foxes lately, like I have on this property my entire life and haven't seen this amount of foxes
Mm.
before in my life. It's funny, Eric. The foxes were showing up here in our neighborhood. Someone
Mm.
took a picture just around the corner of like a group of fox,
Wow.
and it was a whole video and everything. The foxes are playing in the middle of it's a dirt road in our neighborhood,
Yeah.
but and it's kind of suburban like, and it's dirt roads, but the
Yeah.
the the foxes are like rolling around in the
Oh,
dirt, like they're like jumping over each other and throwing rocks at each other. And you were like,
yeah.
I never knew fox could be so
Oh,
playful. And
playful.
I
Yeah.
never seen them that many together, like
Yeah.
a whole pack of them. Like,
Wow.
like it was probably, I think I counted close to a dozen of them
Wow.
all together in the front of this guy's house on the road, on the dirt road, so. Oh, Robert White said that David Attenborough is
96.
96. Holy cow, man.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
So
if they're coming there, I mean, I would definitely start learning about them and their habitat, how they, like I said, everything you can get your hands on to learn about them. So that way you can figure out how you can apply that in your life. Because that's the whole thing. They show up, so they teach us a soul correction or a lesson or something so that you can take into your life and become more like them, because we're supposed to be the more evolved, and we don't have nothing on them. Let's be real, we don't have anything on them. So there's so much for us to learn from them, and it's very humbling when you do get that lesson. you know so
I agree, and I've really appreciated the hummingbirds coming up to me recently. They've been
yeah.
here, and I don't know if you've ever had a close encounter with a hummingbird, but
Mm.
they're kind of intense because they have that buzzing
Yeah.
sort of sound, but they're much bigger than a bee, of course, and they sometimes will come kind of close to me. I don't know if it's because we both wear bright clothes and they think we're a flower or what, but yeah. So yeah, hummingbirds are actually really good omens for travel.
Yeah.
By the way, if a hummingbird landed on my head
Oh, nice.
twice in my life.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, so hummingbirds are really powerful. They're really like kind of intense little creatures. When you witness them. We have like a little hummingbird feeder, and he just, first of all, the amount of sugar that they get on a course of a day, and they need that much sugar
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
their little wings are on a motor,
Well, their
and they're kind of
metabolism
flipping
is
around.
insane. Yeah. Their
Yeah, they're
metabolism is
crazy.
insane.
Yeah, they're just crazy little birds, man, and they're beautiful, like
Yeah.
breathtaking when you see the males,
Yeah.
and just amazing. Just I love them. I love hummingbirds.
Yeah.
So I think that we have like birth totems, and then have you ever noticed that during the cycles of your life that like first you're in like, let's just say there was a time I kept being called to moose, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden I was called to move to Colorado, and I was like, oh wait, moose live in Colorado. And I realized that, and moose had a lot to do with like wisdom
Yeah.
and steady, quiet, calm energy. And
Yeah.
that's exactly where I was at the time. And when I was brewing that, I was called to Colorado. And so
Right.
have you ever noticed different stages of your life
Oh,
that an animal
absolutely.
sort of dominates that stage of your life?
Absolutely. I mean, your birth one is with you throughout your entire life. It's and there's always a new lesson to learn. But then you have what you call your guides. I prefer to call them guides. They come in and they're like, hey, look this direction. I'm coming to you for a reason because there's a lesson, once again, a lesson or a soul correction or confirmation. It could be them telling you, you know what, you're going in the right direction. And the whole thing is paying attention and learning to embrace the animal and love that animal and respect that animal. Um, and it doesn't even have to be an animal. It could be a fish. It could be a bird. It could be an insect. They come for a reason. Once again, they're not there for no reason. It's just because we know the animals exist. We know they all exist, but once again, we don't pay attention. If you pay attention, then you can see what they're trying to tell you and the lessons that they're trying to tell you. And I've had I mean, I can't even count how many guides I've had, from orca killer whales to Bengal tigers to the wolf to horses to like every year it was a different way of me learning because we're constantly evolving and changing, you know, and they come in some come in for a season and some will stay for a while, some will stay for a few years. Yeah. And like the wolf has been with me for a few years, but even with the wolf, you can get multiple ones. It's not just one. You could get a horse come in. You could get a ladybug show up, and just pay attention.
Robert White.
Oh, you missed that
Robert,
one.
you missed. We already
You missed it.
Robert White. Just go ask the Dalai Lama. He'll tell you
Yep.
all about their
Yep.
big impacts for such a little guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, here's one more by Eric. I've noticed as we go through our lives, certain chapters have way different sides or things completely out of left field for a season that we look upon later and be like, wow, that's the reason. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm still
100%.
wondering about that wolf, Eric. I still think about it.
Hmm.
It was during my travels, and I'm not really sure what it was about. Was it trying?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was the spookiest. It was very spooky to have that happen because
Yeah.
I was not expecting anything like that.
Right.
And I think I spooked him as much as he spooked me,
Hmm.
and he recognized me, and then he just quickly jumped off.
Yeah.
So I wonder about the wolf, like what do wolves mean, LeKross?
Wolves are they're just a vast amount of things that they mean. As much as people
I definitely know about like the family pack and all of that.
Yeah. Well, there's it depends because there's also, the females, the males. People don't think a female cannot become an alpha. Yes, they definitely can become an alpha. And the male a beta. I mean, roles can reverse. Anything can happen. It's so fluid within a pack. It's whoever is the strongest is the one that leads. And another thing is you have to look at the circumstance. He was there just drinking water. He was just there. He could have been scouting. He was just drinking water. He saw you, got startled. That could be just a situation in life where you're just doing your everyday thing and something, because you, just as much as he was unexpected to you, you were unexpected to him. So I guess it's realizing the unexpected in life as it comes. You could be doing the mundane things. You could just be doing something simple. As you know, him, he was drinking water. That was mundane for him. And then he sees you. Oh, wait. Now he got scared and he ran. You have to determine, are you going to be scared and run, or are you going to face it? You know?
Yeah. And then I was
So,
also looking at what Eve said. Maybe it was trying to show you the need to be in pack if you were more isolated. Yeah, Eve, that was kind of going on at the time. I was
right.
struggling with my family connections as well as some other connections, especially since I left Pennsylvania. Some people were totally cool with it, and
Yeah.
some people not so much. And I think that was probably going on at the time.
Right. And also I want to also reiterate, each, you have your basic of what the animals may mean, but it's more a one-on-one, because what could mean to one person, the wolf, it will mean something completely different to somebody else. There is no, there is a baseline, but at the end of the day, it's circumstance. It's how it came to you. Why did it come to you? What's going on in your life? There are multi different facets as to why you have to really look at that. I don't like to keep it too generic, because you don't know the story. It's not telling you the same story it's telling me.
Right, sure.
So
I do like what Sandy said.
Hmm.
I do resonate. That was definitely going on for me too at the time. Wolf, Sandy said, "Wolf is a
Right.
symbol of freedom." I was definitely feeling very free. I just,
Right.
it was great. I loved being on the road. It was very much about. I had really good intuition on the road. You end up sort of honing in your intuition because
Right.
your home is moving with you.
Right.
And then conquering fears, for sure. I was doing that every day, living on the road. Wolf is a pathfinder with extraordinary powers of self-reliance and endurance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. And the wolf spirit animal also represents loyalty and companionship. I
Yeah.
am a pretty loyal person, and I think I'm a pretty good companion. And and I agree with both you and Robert White are saying
Yeah.
for one person, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I really like this. I really like talking about totems. I love talking about animals. I love animals.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like you, LeKross. If I see an animal, I want to go home and research it, look
Right.
it up, and, and I'm
Understand
out.
it.
Yeah, yeah, and I've encountered, all kinds of animals. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate that kind of thing, and I do think
Yeah.
about the bugs.
Yeah.
This morning I was outside doing my yoga, and this little bug kept coming up on my mat,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Hey, dude, could you just not come up here because you bite?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"The thing is that you bite, man." And
Yeah. Yeah.
he came up one more time, and then he was like, "All right." And he moved
Yeah.
on. And I just think that you can kind of have a conversation. We had a bat living outside of our door,
Oh, no.
under our deck. It's like our back door. And there was a bat, like
Hmm.
it dug itself into the rocks. This little bat scared
Wow.
the shit out of Bright Hawk because it was because she didn't
Yeah.
expect to see a bat. And then she had a conversation with it
Yeah.
and coming back to it a couple of times over a day or so and being like, I think you should move on to maybe some rocks or something. I don't want you to get stuck because it was right over the back door. It could fly in the
Wow.
house.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
were like, oh no. And so then and then eventually it just left. Just like
Right.
that.
Right.
Left as fast as it came, and then she quickly filled it up with cement because it was just a little indent in our
Right.
the rock around the house in the brick
Yeah.
and stuff, and it was like, oh man. So, but it was a bat. It was like a small bat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think you can have a conversation with animals. I think
Oh,
you
yeah.
can I think you could be, and you can definitely take meaning in their visits.
Yes.
So I would agree with you on that. I definitely live that way too. And I think that's kind of how to live a magical life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. Because at the end of the day, once again, it's all this connection to the earth. It's all energy connecting. We are all connected. The bugs, even though that fly is annoying me, but that fly is connected. We're all interconnected.
He's just reminding you of how,
Yep.
how big your impact can be. And
Yeah.
speaking of very cool gender bender people, just the other day, I was listening to Eddie Izzard,
Mm.
and he's a great comedian. So I encourage you guys to check them out if you want
Mm.
to. And they were just saying about how you can choose how you live your life every day,
Absolutely.
and choosing to live a magical life is, in my opinion, you can choose how you live your day
Yeah.
and how you live your life. And so if you have that life doesn't mean anything. What
Mm.
it means is whatever you put into it.
Right.
And that's what life means. It means what you make it mean. So you're responsible for adding meaning to your life if you need meaning in your life. And so
Exactly.
I thought that was a very interesting thing for them to present
Oh,
during their comedy act. But he managed to do it in a really better way than I just did. So,
right.
check them out. He doesn't
Absolutely.
care what his pronouns are, just so you know. I've checked into it, but he, they seems to be the most appropriate. So I'm going to do a tarot reading for everybody. You ready to do our tarot reading?
All right.
And I've been shuffling the cards while we've been chatting here. And I'm going to pull 3 cards for you guys. The first card is what we've been dealing with in the past. And, this card is really beautiful. And I'm just going to pull the light down a little bit so you can get a good look at it. And if you take a look at it, you can see that this person is kind of underwater. And they appear to be a sort of a sage, almost like a wise person. Excuse me. And on top of their head, floating in the water, is a boat, right on the edge of the water. And this is very much about, and what kind of boat is it? But it's a sailboat. And this is the King of Cups. So the King of Cups, the King of Cups, sorry for my dog. He's got something to say. Charlie's got to say it. Okay, Charlie. Thank you. Come here. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, he just wanted to let us know that somebody was here. So the boat is a sailboat, and it's all about sailing away with your mind. And it's also about controlling the way your mind is going, making choices about it. So pay attention to your emotions and your mind and how the two go together. So that's really what this is about. And it's a reminder of the good things that you've done that have helped you sail your mind into the right places, right? Like having a magical life that can help you, and even finding meaning in animals and stuff like that can really help you. And so that's what the first card is about. Now, this next card is the right now. And this is the Five of Swords, which is very much it is also about secret enemies. Okay. This is about sometimes people in the background that don't exactly mean well for you. And I'm not going to joke. There's definitely people out there that hate queers, for instance. And this is about standing up against them. This is about standing for who you are. This is about being who you are anyway. And unapologetically queer, however you present that, okay? Whether you're gay, whether you're lesbian, whether you're non-binary, gender non-conforming, transgender, or however gender fluid, however it comes to you. And that's exactly what this is all about. This is about standing up and being who you are, even against the secret enemies in the background. Because if you notice, they have very little power on this amazing Andro character with sword. And the sword is not only about thoughts, but it's also about actions and how you put those thoughts and actions into your life. And the final card is the Magician, which is all about being uniquely who you are and offering your gift, living life as full as it is, and giving what you're here to give. We're all here to experience life in its fullness. We're supposed to have meaning in our life. We're supposed to get, be connected with nature and animals. And we're also supposed to offer our gift to the world, whether it be to animals, to nature, or to other humans. Whatever the gift is, it's a gift. And you are unique in your ability to offer the gift in which you have it. So I want to encourage you to bring forth your most authentic self, because really, in the end, that's what's most important. So remember to keep on those mind tricks of managing your emotions and sailing yourself into the right direction. Okay, that's the first card. The second card was all about standing up for yourself, being unapologetically you in whatever way or fashion you need to, and stepping forward with your rights, and also presenting yourself in the most authentic way that you can, offering your gift in all the parts of you, because all parts of you are sacred, I promise, even the queer parts. So
Good reading. Good reading.
thanks. That's actually one of my favorite cards, the Magician card. I think it's like a drag queen. I don't know.
A bearded queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yak drag queen or something. Totally uniquely,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I saw the comment about Charlie. Is Charlie serving as a dog totem, saying, "Don't be afraid to use your voice when you feel the need." Yeah. True. So, well, I hope everybody enjoyed that. Hopefully, Little Nuggets will be back soon. So, and
yeah, we might be experimenting with the format of the show. So, if you have any suggestions or things that you'd like to see with me and LeKross, let us know, because we are experimenting with some formats of the show and trying some new things out. So let us know feedback. Let us know if you like those astrology updates once a month. That's something I've been thinking about doing, and just seeing how that works for Rainbow Soul. So thank you, LeKross, for bringing this beautiful topic about totems, and it's been totally awesome. I think it's a lot of fun. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Same.
Thank you, Eve and Robert and Sandy and Eric and everyone that's tuning into the show. Mike, thank you all for tuning into the show and listening tonight. And thank you for sharing it and subscribing and things like that. We appreciate that. Yeah. It really does help us out. Okay, Eve says they love the astrology. Great. Good. We're thinking about doing some more with that, Eve. We're glad you enjoy it. So, anyway, good night, my friends.
Good night.
We appreciate you. Good night, and we love you. Have a good day. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Rainbow Soul. We are so grateful for your presence and listening in this past hour. Be sure you're subscribed and get notifications so you can join us and catch us every Sunday night here live. We appreciate you sharing, commenting, reacting, and inviting others to the show. This is a show for you, so tell us, who would you like to see on the next show? What topics inspire you? You can always find replays, more about the host, blog posts, merchandise, information about games and contests, and social media links at RainbowSoul.show. We love to show our gratitude with fun and games and contests with prizes that celebrate who we are as a community. Rainbow Soul holds the intention to explore consciousness and spirituality in cultures with a deep reverence for cultural roots, equality, and inclusion. We are always striving to recognize the spiritual medicine available to all of us in the modern world. We hope that you walk away knowing that you are perfectly valid in whatever identity you embrace for yourself and that you are sacred, just as you are. Thank you so much for tuning in to Rainbow Soul. In the land of Africa, there lives a hippo who learns to overcome being different through an ecstatic dance experience. Sometimes life is sweet, and sometimes life stings. It's up to you to decide. What are you willing to be? Asks the honeybee. The firefly reminds us that only you can shine your light. The butterfly speaks of the wonder of transformation, while the moon helps the hippo feel a confident glow. Find out what happens in a hippo dance trance. This beautifully illustrated book presents expressive artwork through gender-neutral characters that deliver messages about being yourself, perspective, and personal transformation. Order today at brighthawkproductions.com.